Alright, babies. How are we right now, today? Everything right? We're doing good? Better? I'm not sure, bro. Left. This is left. Okay, so the video for today is try versus attempt. To try is, I've had this conversation before. Almost everything I've had before. But there's something that I want to get out. Every single time I write about something that I discussed before, I'm writing it differently. So try versus attempts. Right now I'm pointing at to try is one continuous labor, but attempts are many. And okay, so what the fuck do I mean by that? I've done this example before, and I'm gonna use this. I do this with most of my consulting, basically, with most of my gigs when I'm talking to people. I'd ask them to try to grab this, right? Try to grab. And this is grabbing, right? This is trying, not touching. And then normally what happens is like I say try to grab it and they grab it and I go like no, I said try. I didn't say grab, right? Because on one point there's grabbing, at the other point there's trying. So trying on its own is its own activity. Because technically right now I'm trying to be an astronaut. What the fuck am I doing about that? Nothing. But I'm trying. So then I look at them and then they kind of like go like, okay, if this is grabbing, then this is the best I could do, which is trying. And I go like, no, try harder. And then they start doing this. They're still not touching it because the minute they touch it, they've succeeded and it's no longer trying. It's like I was using like specific words, try to do something. The idea behind it is like the harder you try, kind of becomes like this. And it's one of those like, because the minute you touch it, it's no longer trying. Well, my directions were try. And so my favorite thing is that frustration of like, it's kind of like when you're in school and your teacher goes like, I need you to focus on what you do is this, right? You kind of like squint your eyes and be like, all of this is wasted energy. That then I go like, what about attempting to grab it? And then basically an attempt, I succeeded on the first attempt. What if I attempted like this? Technically, I'm still like doing it, but it's like it's an effective attempt, but inefficient attempt. With this, we actually have feedback. What if I attempt to grab it like this? So risky attempt, maybe, or just whatever you want to call it. And then either way, kind of like attempt it with 5 fingers, attempt it with two, attempt it with 2 fingers on each side. Get it? I don't know. So those are, the word attempt is completely different. So that is generally how I see the difference between trying and attempting. Because when you're trying something, you kind of like are doing everything but it. But when you're attempting something, you're guaranteeing a result. You're either guaranteeing a success or a failure, and whatever's in between is actually also a result that you look at because that's where feedback comes in. As we did before, it's not an efficient way to actually hold it, but it's effective. So if I'm doing this for like a second or 10 seconds, it works. But if I'm holding this for like 5 minutes, this is probably a more efficient way to grab it. Now, in this, I say try versus attempts. To try is a continuous labor, but attempts are many. So what the fuck do I mean by that? The minute I read it was one continuous labor, I realized like you kind of never stop trying. And that's something as well that's mental. Because your mind forgets when it's finished. That's where you're kind of talking to somebody about something that you did 10, 15 years ago. And the minute the trigger pops up or the conversation brings it up, what happens is you go back exactly to where it was. Funny enough, it's because it was a loop that got closed. But then some things you kind of feel like are still stuck in your mind, and it's because they never got processed. They never finished. You didn't know how they ended or why they ended. That closure was not given to you. So to try is one continuous labor because if I'm right now trying and then I go do something else, there was no end, right? Like there, you can't see if you succeeded or failed. Effectively, when you go, you're gonna be like, how else can I grab it while trying? Or how else can I try to grab it? And it kind of sticks. It doesn't, maybe it's the fact that like, yeah, because effectively you never go anywhere. Again, like I am technically trying to become an astronaut, right? I'm also trying to be many things. All I have to do is just like declare it, and that's it. Whilst with an attempt, you actually get direct feedback. When you attempt something, I'm attempting to grab it. It's basically a support system. Like I'm not actually grabbing it, I'm attempting to grab it. After you succeed, I succeeded in grabbing it. Now I can actually say it with assurance. I have grabbed it, and I can grab it again. And normally we use when we say try with new stuff. The same thing. When we're attempting stuff that basically we probably haven't done before. One consumes energy without any feedback and lingers around you, which is the trying part. While the other one is like small bursts of energy that make you feel probably stupid. Because anytime you attempt something and you fail, you're going to realize how you approached it wrong. You're going to realize how it did not really like whatever you were thinking, let's just say it didn't work. But when something you were confident in or you were thinking about didn't work, it kind of means that you were off. And if you're off, that means you were wrong. And if you're wrong, that means you weren't as smart as you thought you were. It really comes with a whole lot of realizations. Fair price to pay, though, I guess. But when you're trying, you're not really realizing anything new because you're standing from the same position and approaching something from different angles, doing everything except the thing itself. Because like once I hold this, I'm no longer trying. But if I hold this and it falls, it's an attempt that failed. Well, depending on again, maybe measurements of success as well, right? Like I mentioned it earlier. If I'm just holding this for like 5 seconds, this could succeed, and it's fair enough. It's a successful attempt. But if I want to hold it for like a minute, 5 minutes, then this is a much better way to hold it. So our success in something also could be basically defined and with attempts and a proper definition of what success looks like and attempting to reach basically that success, then effectively what we're doing is we're having that back and forth in terms of feedback, and we're creating that loop that opens up how we are approaching everything around us. That that is the game that we play, right? Because we're actually playing, we're not considering. We're trying to reach success by failing. And the reason we're failing is because whatever we are cannot be successful in the state that we're in. Because the way we think is just all right. So like, let's look at it from a reality's perspective. Because anytime you fail at something, that feedback, that realization, kind of kills these parts of you, right? These parts of you that came up with the way, with the right way to do it, and then you attempt it, and that right way fails. Those parts of you that came up with that right way are shunned, right? You feel that shame, you feel that disappointment in them. You feel kind of like that, what the hell was I thinking kind of thing, or how did I come to that train of thoughts? And I like the word train here because it's patterns of thinking that lead in a certain direction. And normally, every failure takes us back a step of how the pattern starts. That's why it's a different perspective. And so eventually, you fail at enough things that you realize you're so far deep into yourself that you're a completely different person. It's not parts of you that have died. It's the whole of who you thought you were or how you used to think before kind of was structured. And then eventually, pop, pop, there you go. So it's super fun. It's it's straight up basically like, I guess literally it's playing the game. So I don't know. Fuck, I don't know what I'm thinking about. It's just kind of like, it really is the whole like taking a step back anytime you fail. Because like at first you kind of like fail on one, two, three, four, five ways, and then you realize the way you were thinking about them is what caused these five ways to fail. Then you take a step back, and then maybe they're the same ways, but you're attempting them differently, or maybe they're completely different ways, but poised in a certain kind of like, they feel the same, but they're not really the same because they're coming from a different place. And possibilities are endless. Trying versus attempting, man. Always attempt something, never try. Because try is just basically a consumption of energy without any actual results. While attempts actually give you feedback and awaken you realizations on yourself and destroy parts of you that are useless. Thank you guys. I love you. It's a fucking video.